It is better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you are a fool than to open it and remove all doubt. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. Don't go around saying the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. It was here first. Suppose you were an idiot, and suppose you were a member of Congress, but I repeat myself. Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. All you need in this life is ignorance and confidence, and then success is sure. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. A man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn in no other way. I'm an old man and have known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened. The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. Patriotism is supporting your country all the time and your government when it deserves it. In the first place, God made idiots. That was for practice. Then He made school boards. It ain't those parts of the Bible that I can't understand that bother me. It is the parts that I do understand. Part of the secret of a success in life is to eat what you like and let the food fight it out inside. A man's character may be learned from the adjectives which he habitually uses in conversation. Truth is stranger than fiction, but it is because fiction is obliged to stick to possibilities. Truth isn't. Loyalty to petrified opinion never yet broke a chain or freed a human soul. There are basically 2 types of people: people who accomplish things and people who claim to have accomplished things. The first group is less crowded. Giving up smoking is the easiest thing in the world. I know because I've done it thousands of times. It usually takes me more than 3 weeks to prepare a good impromptu speech. Let us endeavor so to live so that when we come to die, even the undertaker will be sorry. My mother had a great deal of trouble with me, but I think she enjoyed it. Life would be infinitely happier if we could only be born at the age of 80 and gradually approach 18. The right word may be effective, but no word was ever as effective as a rightly timed pause. But who prays for Satan? Who, in 18 centuries, has had the common humanity to pray for the one sinner that needed it most? I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835. It is coming again next year, and I expect to go out with it. It will be the greatest disappointment of my life if I don't go out with Halley's Comet. The Almighty has said, no doubt. Now here are these 2 unaccountable freaks. They came in together. They must go out together. Everything human is pathetic. The secret source of humor itself is not joy but sorrow. There is no humor in heaven. Grief can take care of itself, but to get the full value of a joy, you must have somebody to divide it with. There are people who can do all fine and heroic things, but one, keep from telling their happiness to the unhappy. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Many a small thing has been made large by the right kind of advertising. Only one thing is impossible for God: to find any sense in any copyright law on the planet. The man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who cannot read them. If the world comes to an end, I want to be in Cincinnati. Everything comes there 10 years later. When we remember we are all mad, the mysteries disappear and life stands explained. It is by the goodness of God that in our country we have those three unspeakably precious things: freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, and the prudence never to practice either of them. The difference between the almost right word and the right word is really a large matter. 'Tis the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning. Noise proves nothing. Often a hen who has merely laid an egg cackles as if she laid an asteroid. Don't part with your illusions. When they are gone, you may still exist, but you have ceased to live. Truth is mighty and will prevail. There is nothing wrong with this, except that it ain't so. Under certain circumstances, urgent circumstances, desperate circumstances, profanity provides a relief denied even to prayer. When people do not respect us, we are sharply offended. Yet in his private heart no man much respects himself. Loyalty to the nation all the time. Loyalty to the government when it deserves it. I must have a prodigious quantity of mind. It takes me as much as a week sometimes to make it up. Patriot. The person who can holler the loudest without knowing what he is hollering about. It were not best that we should all think alike. It is difference of opinion that makes horse races. Training is everything. The peach was once a bitter almond. Cauliflower is nothing but cabbage with a college education. Biographies are but the clothes and buttons of the man. The biography of the man himself cannot be written. What, sir, would the people of the earth be without woman? They would be scarce, sir, almighty scarce. Only kings, presidents, editors, and people with tapeworms have the right to use the editorial we. The man who is a pessimist before 48 knows too much. If he is an optimist after it, he knows too little. Do not tell fish stories where the people know you, but particularly, don't tell them where they know the fish. The finest clothing made is a person's own skin, but of course society demands something more than this. My books are like water, those of the great geniuses are wine. Fortunately, everybody drinks water. She was not quite what you would call refined. She was not quite what you would call unrefined. She was the kind of person that keeps a parrot. It is curious that physical courage should be so common in the world and moral courage so rare. Why is it that we rejoice at a birth and grieve at a funeral? It is because we are not the person involved. Why is it that we rejoice at a birth and grieve at a funeral? It is because we are not the person involved. I have been complimented many times and they always embarrass me. I always feel that they have not said enough. It is my belief that nearly any invented quotation, played with confidence, stands a good chance to deceive. Drag your thoughts away from your troubles, by the ears, by the heels, or any other way you can manage it. Let us make a special effort to stop communicating with each other, so we can have some conversation. Wit is the sudden marriage of ideas which, before their union, were not perceived to have any relation. The human race is a race of cowards, and I am not only marching in that procession but carrying a banner. It put our energies to sleep and made visionaries of us, dreamers and indolent. It is good to begin life poor. It is good to begin life rich. These are wholesome, but to begin it prospectively rich. The man who has not experienced it cannot imagine the curse of it. Why shouldn't truth be stranger than fiction? Fiction, after all, has to make sense. What is the difference between a taxidermist and a tax collector? The taxidermist takes only your skin. It is just like man's vanity and impertinence to call an animal dumb because it is dumb to his dull perceptions. The most interesting information comes from children, for they tell all they know and then stop. As an example to others, and not that I care for moderation myself, it has always been my rule never to smoke when asleep and never to refrain from smoking when awake. Please comment how you liked Mark Twain's quotes. I hope you will learn something new. To learn such informative things, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that my videos reach you quickly.